Your entire life can start to change the second you decide to focus on solutions instead of problems. It sounds simple, right? But so many of us, without even realizing it, get stuck focusing on what's wrong. The thing is, where you put your focus, well, that's what determines your progress. So let's get into how we can actually make that shift.
I mean, have you ever felt like you're stuck in a loop? You're just overthinking everything, complaining, maybe kind of just waiting for things to magically fix themselves, and you're just feeling totally drained. Yeah? If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. That feeling, that's the #1 sign that your focus is completely stuck on the problem, not on finding a way out.
And this really boils down to two completely different ways of thinking, two mindsets. You've got the problem focus, which, that just leads to blame, feeling stuck, completely drained. But then there's the solution focus, and that leads to taking responsibility, making real progress, and feeling empowered. The crazy part? This is a choice we're making, consciously or not, every single day.
All right, so first up, the problem with problems. Let's break down why focusing on the problem itself is such a powerful, easy trap to fall into.
Okay, so this is a weird trick our minds play on us. The more you stare at a problem, the bigger and scarier it gets. It's like, when you hesitate, your imagination just runs wild, turning these little hurdles into giant, fire-breathing dragons. You're literally feeding the problem with your attention, making it feel way more powerful and impossible than it actually is.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. You can't grow if you're always explaining why you're not where you want to be. Just think about that for a second. If all your energy is going into justifying why you're stuck, what's left over to actually move forward? Nothing. It's like you're in a permanent defensive crouch, and it pretty much guarantees you're not going anywhere.
So how do we break out of this? How do we make the shift? Well, it all starts with one single powerful decision: taking responsibility. And listen, this isn't about what happened in the past. It's about what you're going to do right now.
I mean, look at the difference here. Blame? That's just giving your power away. It drains you and keeps you locked on a past you can't change. But responsibility, that's taking your power back. It creates momentum and points you towards a future you can build. It's literally the difference between being a passenger in your own life and getting in the driver's seat.
And let's get one thing crystal clear. Responsibility is not about saying it's all my fault. Nope. It's about saying, you know what? It's my job to deal with this now. It's a declaration. It says, I don't care what happened before. I am in charge of what happens next.
Okay, so once you've decided to take responsibility, the next piece of the puzzle happens inside your own head. You've got to train your inner focus. It's like building a muscle, learning to see what's actually useful instead of just getting distracted by all the noise.
And this is so true. Your life will always follow the direction of your focus. Think about it. Your attention is your most precious resource, right? Where that energy goes, your life is sure to follow. So if your focus is always on setbacks, on fear, on what's broken, well, that's exactly the kind of life your brain is going to get really good at building.
And this is a trap that gets so many of us. This idea of circular thinking, replaying the same worry over and over and over again. It feels like you're doing something productive. It feels like thinking, but it's not progress. You're just spinning your wheels, burning fuel, and making it totally impossible to see a clear road ahead.
So how do you actually break that cycle? It's a simple 3-step process. First, you just have to catch yourself doing it. Notice when you're in that mental loop. Step 2, create a little space. Just pause, take a breath. Make some room between the panic and how you respond. And third, calm your emotions down. Because it's from that calmer, clearer place that you can actually make good choices. That's how you take the controls back.
All right, so you've shifted your mindset, you're training your focus, but none of that really matters without this last crucial ingredient: action.
We get this so backwards. We think we need to feel brave before we can do the scary thing. But this quote says it all. Courage doesn't come first. It shows up after the action. The truth is, you don't wait for courage. You build it. You earn it by doing, not by waiting around to feel ready.
And that's because fear feeds on delay. It thrives on inaction. The longer you wait, the longer you procrastinate, the bigger and more powerful that fear gets in your mind. But action, man, even the tiniest little step forward
It starves that fear, it cuts off its food supply, and starts building momentum in the other direction.
So, let's start right here with just one, the number one. Try this super simple habit. Just once a day, that's it. When you catch yourself complaining about something, I want you to replace that complaint with one small, useful action. It doesn't have to be some grand gesture. It just has to be a step. Any step. That's how a real habit of progress actually begins.
Okay, so all of this whole process, it really builds up to one simple, incredibly powerful question you can use anytime, any place you feel stuck. And here it is. This is the ultimate question. In the middle of all the frustration, the confusion, the overwhelm, just pause and ask yourself, what would actually help right now? Not what would feel good for a second, not what someone else thinks you should do, but what would actually help move the needle, even by a millimeter. It just cuts through all the noise and points you directly to a practical, immediate next step. So, let's just pull this all together. These are the core habits we've been talking about. First, own your response. Don't just blame. Second, direct your focus. Don't just spin in circles. Third, take one small action. Don't just wait around. And finally, always ask what helps, not just what's wrong. Because in the end, it really is that simple. Your future isn't defined by your past, and it's definitely not built on wishful thinking. It is built, choice by choice, by the actions you decide to take today. So I'll leave you with this question. What's one small action you can take right now?